All right, everybody, welcome back. Good late morning. Hope you guys are doing better than I am. And we have another outgoing Seattle Seahawks free agent to evaluate here. How much is he going to cost to keep? Is it worth it to keep him? You guys know the drill. Today, we're talking about Josh Jobe. Josh Jobe, the cornerback, kind of came out of nowhere. Didn't originally start with the Seahawks. Started getting some time on the field in 2024, played well, continued to play quite a bit in 2025, played well, and now suddenly he is maybe not a marquee free agent, but he's a notable free agent. And we got to figure out what kind of money he's going to be getting this offseason, keeping in mind that he's coming from a team that just won the Super Bowl, that just had the number one defense, and he had a great Super Bowl. Josh Jobe played excellent in that Super Bowl. So this is going to get complicated. All right, everybody, before we go any further into this video, I want to take a minute to tell you guys about the Sleeper app and some new functionality they've recently rolled out, Team Picks. With Team Picks, you can pick winners in all kinds of sporting events. Right now, we have NBA basketball, college basketball, NHL hockey is going on, baseball's going to start in a little more than a month, and of course, you have futures in the NFL, even though the games in the NFL are over. Right now, if you look to my left here, you can actually see you can bet on next year's Super Bowl winner. They've got the Seahawks leading the way in those odds, by the way, at 12%. How does that make you feel as a Seahawks fan? But you can bet on MVP, you can bet on draft picks, you can bet on player destinations, all kinds of fun stuff, even though the season is over. So that is Team Picks over on Sleeper. A lot of fun stuff you can do. All right, so Spotrac has a market value page for Josh Jobe, and they're coming in at 3 years, 29.2 million. So that is 9.7 million per year for 3 years. And I'm here to tell you that based on what I'm seeing and based on the fact that this guy just won a Super Bowl and played really, really well with over 100 million people watching on Super Bowl Sunday, that there's no way he's only going to get this unless he's got a reputation that just cannot be shuck. Because I don't think that you can justify him being worth less than 10 million per year when you compare him to other players. But let's take a look here. So Josh Jobe, about to turn 28, by the way, so he's in his prime. Um, he's been good the last couple years, right? He hasn't been a full-time player, but he's played a lot and he's played well. 2 interceptions, 19 passes defensed over the last 2 years. And like I said, good stuff happening in the playoffs. And this is an example of a player that I think a lot of fans think are bad because he does get picked on. But here's the thing, guys. He gets picked on because teams are afraid of throwing it at Woolen and Witherspoon. He is on some level getting picked on, but take a look at some of these numbers, man. 91 targets, and he's not even a full-time starter because he splits with Woolen a lot. Less than 50% completion when targeted. Like, I don't know how a guy could be holding up much better against getting picked on than that. Yeah, he's given up the 4 touchdowns. Yeah, it's just over 500 yards, but I'm down with 500 yards on 91 targets from a cornerback that is not even one of my 2 best corners. 77 QB rating when targeted, that's pretty good, especially for a guy who only had the 1 pick. He's holding up, man. He is holding up. So I don't understand where this idea that Josh Jobe is not good just because he does occasionally give up a play. You're going to give up plays when you get targeted this much. And the fact that he's giving up as little as he is on the targets he's getting is, I think, pretty strong. So, yeah, I know there's a little bit of a narrative here that Jobe is always the guy who gives up the big play, but it's not that simple. Now, PFF doesn't like him. Pro Football Focus thinks pretty poorly of Josh Jobe. I don't really know why when you take a look at the numbers. It's just one of those things where they see something with him they don't like, I guess. And I mean that's their right, but to me, I look at these numbers and I go, this is a good player. This is a player who's playing about as well as you could in the circumstance that he is in. And even in 2024, his coverage numbers were pretty good. They were a lot better in 2025, all things considered, but 2024 was not bad either. Now, let's talk about cornerbacks, and we're going to skip right past the top guys. Obviously, Josh Jobe is not going to get paid like a top guy, but let's look at Lenore in San Francisco, who got extended 2 years ago, 5 years, 88.9 million, 17.8 million per year. Now, is Lenore a better player than Josh Jobe? Absolutely. He's also was a lot younger when he got this extension, but he wasn't like some incredibly pedigreed guy. He was a 5th-round pick. You look at his numbers over his career that got him the extension. Yeah, they're better. More interceptions, a lot more tackles, a lot more involved in run defense. His coverage numbers, I mean, I think the coverage numbers overall are fine, but you can see he is getting targeted quite a bit, and he does end up giving up quite a bit of yards compared to Jobe. Now, he is getting targeted a lot too, but like we just said with Jobe, that was the case with Jobe as well. Now, he's only given up a handful of touchdowns in the time before he got paid. I understand that. But still, is Lenore a better player than Jobe? Absolutely. Pro Football Focus liked him quite a bit in that final season before he got paid, 2023. But what I'm trying to say is it probably wasn't as big of a separation as you thought. Lenore probably isn't as much better than Lenore isn't better than Jobe by as much as you may have initially thought. And let's go down a little bit to a guy like Zion McCollum. 3 years, 48 million. That's 16 million per year. Zion McCollum, again, not pedigreed, 5th-round pick. He does have a little bit more appealing physical attributes like his size and speed, and he was younger when he got extended here, but look at his career that got him extended, right? He had a couple of he had an okay rookie year where he didn't play that much. The next 2 years were good, but only the 2 interceptions. Didn't make a lot of plays on the ball. We're talking about 27 passes defensed. And then you take a look at the coverage numbers. I mean, he gets targeted a lot. He does give up a lot, though. I mean, he gave up over 800 yards in 2024. Now he got targeted a lot to get there. I'm okay with it. But you take a look at those cover numbers. Their Job's are better. Now, I'm not saying Jobe is better than Zion. I think Zion's a better player, and Zion deserves to get paid more than Josh Jobe. But I am looking at these numbers, and I'm seeing some of the same things that I saw with Jobe, where, okay, a lot of yards, but he's getting targeted a lot. He is getting picked on, probably because teams don't really want to throw Jamel Dean. But if Zion McCollum gets 16 million per year, then we're not, or excuse me, yeah. Zion McCollum gets 16 per year, then we're not that far away with Jobe. And Pro Football Focus liked him. They didn't love him. They weren't enamored with him. Not even a 70 in his final year before he got the extension. And keep in mind, McCollum and Lenore negotiated early, a year early. If anything, they gave the teams a break. Josh Jobe is a month away, not even from being a free agent. He has no incentive to give the team a break. Okay, let's keep going. Down a couple more spots to Brandon Stevens. Brandon Stevens last offseason got 3 years, 36 million. That's 12 million a year. So what is Brandon Stevens as a player? He spent 4 years, 4 years with the Ravens, was a full-time starter the last 2 years, and then he signed with the Jets. And he was a decent player, made a good amount of plays on the ball, 2 interceptions in 2023. But is there anything here that jumps off the page to you? He's getting targeted over 100 times per season, giving up over 900 yards in 2024. Even 2023 gave up over 700 yards, and that was the number 1 defense in football. Yeah, maybe he's just the guy who gets picked on a little bit because somebody needs to get picked on, but this is not super exciting to me if I'm judging him. Like he gave up almost 9 yards per target in 2024, and that was the season he had before he got paid. QB rating when targeted over 106. So I don't really know what I can say about this other than it seems like he's not holding up very well while getting picked on. It seems like Jobe did a better job when getting picked on than Stevens did. And PFF didn't like Stevens either that contract year. Pretty much exactly the same grade they gave Jobe. So it kind of feels like we're already there. We're probably already past the landing point But just to go a little bit further, Christian Fulton with the Chiefs, he signed a 2-year, $20 million deal last offseason. Christian Fulton had 4 good years with Tennessee, or decent years, whatever. Then he had 1 year with the Chargers, where again, just okay. And then he got $10 million a year from Kansas City. And well, what did he do to really get that? Like, okay, his coverage numbers in 2024 were okay, but he gave up the 5 touchdowns, 103.6 QB rating, the 1 interception. His numbers from Tennessee are, I don't know, like, I'm not crazy excited about any of this. This doesn't really do much for me. It's fine. Some of it's good. Some of it, I don't know. The last 2 years before he got that deal, he was allowing close to 70% completion. So PFF liked him in that Chargers year before he signed the deal with the Chiefs, I guess, but I'm not really seeing anything. Look at all the games he's missing, by the way. Look at all the injuries he's had. Jobe, I know he got hurt for a little bit last year, but he only missed 1 game. So I look at this number and I say, I don't know how this stands unless it's some poorly kept secret that Josh Jobe is actually not very good. And I guess that could be out there. There could be people out there that go, look, he's a product of Spoon and Woolen. He's the 3rd best corner on that team. You've even got Eman Wari, who's technically playing corner for us this year. So Josh Jobe, kind of the 4th best corner on the team. You don't really want to throw that guy a bunch of money. Maybe there's something like that going on here with Jobe. But when I look at the numbers and I look at the performance and I look at the circumstances, I think Jobe is getting a lot more than this. I could see like 3 years, 45. I absolutely think he should get more than Stevens, at least. I think he's in a better spot to get paid than Stevens was. Stevens was in a terrible spot and he still got 12 million per year last year. So could Jobe get like 3 years, 45 million? I think so, especially coming off a great Super Bowl, coming off a year where he was part of the number 1 defense in football and the team that won the Super Bowl, about to turn 28, about to hit his prime. There's going to be a pretty juicy market out there for him, I think. And there is this narrative that we have to keep Jobe because we're not going to keep Woolen. And I see where that comes from. But I don't know if I'm giving Josh Jobe 15 million a year. I just don't know. I think you got to trust Mike at that point to go out and find replacements. There are going to be some veteran guys that you can sign that can hold down the fort for a year, and some of them are going to be cut, right? Some of those guys are going to get cut so they don't take away comp picks from you, guys like Marlon Humphrey, guys like maybe Denzel Ward. There are going to be guys like that that you can go get that are going to give you better play than Jobe and will buy you time to try to acquire a younger player in the draft who's your long-term corner alongside Spoon. And that's the other element too. If I'm paying top dollar to Witherspoon, which I will be soon, then I mean, look, you can afford to pay your number 2 corner 15 million a year, but you will really want to make sure that the corner you're giving 15 million a year is someone you're really excited about. And I like Jobe. I think he's a good player, but I don't know how excited I am to give him $45 million. This is a tough one though. Let me know what you guys think. I'll see you guys later. Go Hawks. I could see this going a couple different ways, but for me, I think it's going to go up to like 3 years, 45 million, and I don't think I'm doing it. But I could see it the other way as well. I think there's a pretty good argument to be made in favor of bringing back Jobe at that price because he is good, and you want some stability in that secondary. And you're already probably losing Kobe and Woolen. All right. See you guys later. Go Hawks.